న్యూ పర్సన్ కనపడుతున్నాడు పొలయ్య.
మన గ్యాంగే. Yes. Yeah, this is enough for us. Yeah. Good morning, all. I think everybody have Git for Windows in their laptops. Am I right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. Good. So before moving into complete Git, just I want to give you a brief on what is version.
Bro, share the screen.
Right. I'm not telling anything. Wait. Okay. When I need to show, obviously I will start the presentation. Don't worry. So let me start anyway. What is version control system? Before going to know about Azure Repos, we should know two concepts. One is source code management, another one is version control system. People will call them as simply SCM and VCS. If you remember, sorry, even in our initial demo also I used to tell, if you want to become a DevOps engineer, you should know these two concepts: how to manage source code, that is source code management, and how to have the versions of your source code, that is version control system. So in Azure DevOps, the source code was being maintained in Azure Repos, and in Azure Repos, the versioning was being carried out by Git. The version control system of Azure Repos is Git. So while creating the project, you have seen what are the version control system you want to choose, either Git or TFVC. TFVC means Team Foundation Version Control. So before going to know about repos or Git, first of all, what is source code management? So source code management is an activity how you are going to manage your source code, where you are going to store the source code, how you are going to give access to the people, how people will download the source code, and how they will upload the source code, whatever they are writing in their own PCs. This is all about source code management. For suppose if in my organization I have 10 developers, okay, I have 10 developers and they are writing source code. If they are writing in their local PCs and if they gone for leave, it's a long leave or any leave, for suppose developer 1 has written some 100 lines of code, and tomorrow developer 2 want to start the source code from 101 line, not from first line. Why? Because the 100 lines are already ready, but he has not shared the source code with anyone. The source code is in their his laptop only, but he went on for long leave, maybe 1 week, 10 days or 1 month. Until he comes back, the entire team, the remaining 9 developers cannot start work. Why? Because they want to write the source code from 101 line, not from first line. And they don't know what is there in the first 100 lines, whether the first 100 lines are right or wrong, whether it is running properly or not. No information, no update. He just write the 100 lines of code and he dropped a mail that I have written 100 lines of code, I am going out. But where is your 100 lines of code and what is the status of 100 lines of code? Is it good or bad? No update. So in such type of scenarios, in legacy systems, in traditional days, what companies did was they created a repository which is on a single server. Repository is nothing but a repository. Repository is nothing but a folder or central location. Repository is nothing but folder or central location. For suppose, even take your computer only. Every drive is something like a repository for you. In your hard disk, every drive is a repository for you. In one hard disk, you may save softwares. In one hard disk, you may save documents. In one hard disk, you may save movies and any files. In the same way, what companies did was they created a centralized location. Let's say they created a server called code server. So whenever a developer or whenever a user writes some code or do some activity in the application, they need to copy paste the code in the code server. They need to copy paste or they need to push or they need to upload the code to the code server. Even if he goes on leave, the other people can directly go to the code server and they can download and they can write. Once they are done with the code, they can push back into the same code server. So this is called centralized VCS. Sorry guys. Centralized VCS, centralized version control system. That means even though there are 10 developers writing their code, they need to write the source. They need to write the source code in the code server only. They need to log into the code server. They need to write there. Once they are done, they need to log out. Okay. Maybe previously I little bit confused you. It's not like they need to download the source code from a code server. If they want to write the code in the application, they need to log into the code server, write the source code. Once they are done, they need to log out. Okay, in such, this is followed by in traditional systems. Okay, there is a code server. Whoever want to write the code, just go to the place and write the code and log off. So what's happening is in these type of scenarios, I have 10 developers. When a developer is already there on the server and he is writing the code, the other users are not able to access the source code system. The other users are not able to access the source code system. Why? Because when they try to log in, obviously it will throw error. A user is already logged in. Please wait until he logs off. What they do, even though they have right source of code, but they are ready to write the code, they need to wait until the other person closes it. Until the other person closes it. So this is happening. To overcome this, it's not right way. Why we are keeping our source code in? Why we need to go to that place and write the source code? Why can't we have our own source code repositories in our local PCs? Let me write code in my local computer, and the other person can write local computer. And in this way, all the 10 developers can write whatever code they have in my mind, and they can add the files into the repository. Once everyone is done, the 10 people can push the code to the code server. The 10 people can push the code to the code server. If something is duplicate, for suppose developer 1 and developer 2 both has written the same source code, then the source code management system, which is nothing but Git or another thing, it will show that I am seeing a merge conflict. When I am trying to merge your code with other code, I am seeing a conflict. It seems you both are writing the same code or maybe different code but in the same line. Okay, you both are writing the same code or maybe different code but in the same line. For suppose developer 1 has written print hello world in 100th line, and developer 2 also has written print hello world in the same line. Then it will say, it seems you both are writing same code or you both are writing in the same line. You tell me which one I need to keep, whether the first one or second one. In such scenarios, what you will do, obviously the source code management system or version control system will show you that this is the developer name and this is the change he has done. And the other one, this is the developer name and this is the change he has done. Then these two people can can interact with each other and they can decide, okay, it seems my code is wrong, your code looks good, you merge your code, I am not pushing my code. So here if you see, everybody will have their own source code repositories. Once they are done, they are pushing it. Nobody is going to log in into the code server. Obviously here also there is a code server, but nobody is logging into the code server. They are writing their source codes in their local systems only. So this is called distributed version control system. The previous one is centralized version control system, where you need to log in into the server and write the source code in the server itself. But in here it is called distributed version control system. So team foundation version control system comes under centralized, where we will have a centralized location. It may be a server or repository or a folder. If you want to write code, you need to go to the folder and write the source code and come out of that folder. Whereas in distributed version control system, you no need to worry where the source code is. You start writing your local code, writing your source code in your local repository only. Once you are done, you can push the changes to the master repository or centralized repository. So in both the cases, we have a concept called a centralized repository. But the way you are writing the code, pushing the code and pulling the code is different from centralized to distributed. Don't think that, okay, when you say centralized version control system, you will have centralized repository. But when you say distributed version control system, there is no centralized repository. No, even in distributed also, there is a centralized repository. But the only thing is, you no need to log in into the centralized repository. You can start working on your local repository itself. When you are done, you can push the changes to the centralized repository. This is about distributed version control system and centralized version control system. And the example is centralized version control system is TFVC, Team Foundation Version Control, and distributed is Git. So Git was initially invented by Linux developer named Linus Torvalds. He is the creator of Linux operating system. Git was initially created or developed by Linus Torvalds. He is the creator of Linux operating system. So why he created this? Because initially he created Linux as an open source only. Open source means everybody can download and everybody can use. No one need to pay anything to use this. Open source means it's open. Even the source code also is available for everyone. If you want to make changes, you can make changes on your own. For suppose, let's take, this is Google Chrome browser. I want to have extra button here. Okay, I want to have, here I am seeing 3 buttons, right? Minimize, maximize, close. But I want to have a button called resize. See, if I want to resize, this is I want to do, right? But no, instead of this, I want to have a button, something like resize here. But you can't add resize button here. Why? Because Google Chrome was not an open source. It was controlled by Google. Google Chrome was not open source. It was controlled by Google. You might ask me, but Google Chrome, everybody is downloading and everybody using, why it is not open source? Open source means the source code of the software is openly available to you. The source code of the software is openly available to you. So if you want to see the Google Chrome source code, you can't see. It's a proprietary tool of Google. Google will never share you the source code of this Google Chrome browser. Google will never share you the source code of this Google Chrome browser. But Linux operating system is an open source. You can get the Linux source code from the market. And it is distributed under GNU, General Public License. So here you can see in the same way, Git is free and open source software. Git is free and open source software. That means you can change anything inside Git. If you have an idea and if you want to integrate inside Git, you just let us know, or you can submit your idea, then they will work on that. Or else if you have the source code, you by your own can work on this and make the changes. So this is about Git. Initially, Git used to work only in this portal. Let me go to other window. I want to show you something else. So this is the organization. GitHub is nothing but an organization. So these are the people who are maintaining it right now. Even though Linux was created by Linus Torvalds, he has made it openly available, and now it is being maintained by this organization. So in the year 2018, I believe, GitHub was acquired by Microsoft. So now GitHub is looks different, but it is part of Microsoft. So Git was majorly used in GitHub platform, where GitHub is used to share the source code with multiple people across the globe. For suppose, whatever example we have taken, we are saying that we have a source code where our 10 developers are working, but these 10 developers are from same organization. So if you want to share with them, that's easy for you. But when you want to share the same source code with multiple people across the globe, where you can save. So this is the platform. Here you can save. If you have an account in GitHub, and there you can create a repository, and inside the repository you can write your source code. This way you can make the source code available to the entire world. So in my case, I already have account in GitHub. If you don't have account, I suggest better go and create account. So here, this is my account. So once you log in, this is your profile. So you need to create a profile, and inside your profile you can create projects, you can create repositories, and you can have some packages. Repository, I already told you what is repository. Repository is nothing but the collection of files or collection of source code. So inside the repository you can write your source code. So here I can create new files, upload files. If you want to write a new file, you can write a new file. So just name the file something like my file, and if you are aware of the extension, whether it is txt file, that means text file, or is it cmd file, command prompt file, or PowerShell file, ps1 file. So if you are aware of the extension, you can give the extension. Even if you are not aware of the extension, no worries. You can just give a name as my file and start writing your code. For suppose here, if I give a simple instruction like print hello world. So I have written a code, and this is in my file. Now I can save this. So in Git terminology, committing is nothing but saving. Okay, Git has separate its own terminology. In Git terminology, committing is nothing but saving. Committing means you have made some changes and you are going to save those changes. See, initially is doing changes is not saving. Okay, even if you for suppose I am creating a notepad file. Okay, I have opened a notepad file and I am writing something here. Okay, this is not like saving this file. I have done some changes, that's for sure. Okay, you have done some changes. You have opened a notepad file and you have written some code. Assume this as a code. But this is not saving. So if you want to have this file for future, you need to save this. The same way, you have created a file and you have written some code. But this is not saving. So you need to save. In the same way, saving is nothing. Saving is nothing but committing in Git terminology. So now if I go to my sample project, obviously there will not be, there is no my file. The moment I commit, even just remember this number, I have 24 commits now. That's 9 days ago, 24 commits now. Now if I commit this, commit. Here I can see my file, okay, my file, and it's just now. Now I see 25 commits. Okay, 20, that means there is a recent commit happened on this repository. So we have done some change and you saved the change. If you take our local repository, okay, if I would take a local repository, go to any one folder. Let's go to some folder. Yeah. So here I have a folder called codes picks. Is it showing you anything, how many changes in this folder? Even if I go to something like properties, so you can't see how many times this folder got changed. See, there are no versions at all. But here if you see in the Git repository, you can see that, okay, 25 comments means 25 times there are some files created and saved into this repository. 25 times there are some files. If you want to see whenever the file change is done, just go to inside the commits. You can see everything. So from August 2020, last year 2020, there are commits happening on this. So initially the commits was happened by Rajesh, then some commits by Raghu. I think 2 contributors. So yes. So two persons are working in this repository. So initially there are some changes happened on August. Then Raghu did something on September. Then everything was done by Rajesh. September 17th, September 22, December, March, then March 10th. So these are all the changes happened in this. If you want to see what is the change they have done inside, just go to the file. Here is the commit ID. We call it as commit ID. That means whenever you save, we will create a record for the save option operation. Whenever you save or whenever you
Hello. Hello.
అదే డిస్కనెక్ట్ అని ఉంటుంది.
అవునవును,
మేబీ నెట్వర్క్ ఏమైనా ప్రాబ్లమా?
అయ్యుండొచ్చు.
శివనా మీ పేరు?
కాదు, Hi Krishna.
Hi. Okay.
Chat bro.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we are there,
Yeah,
Rajesh.
Bro.
yes, some power issue. Yep, back. Yeah. So this way you can see what are all the commits happened in this repository, and if you want to see what's happened inside the commit, you can go to the commit ID section. This is called commit ID. So whenever you perform a commit operation, that is nothing but save operation, Git will create an ID for that. In future, if you want to refer the ID, for suppose after 3 months or 4 months, someone will come to you and they will ask you. Yeah. So after some time, someone will come to you and ask you, maybe September 7th, there are multiple changes. I want to see one change, what happened on that day. So in such case, you can open the commits and go to the commit ID. So inside the commit ID, you can show them. If you see what they are saying, let me take one proper ID. See here they are saying removed extra line. This is called commit message. Okay, when you are committing, that means when you are saving, you are giving a name for the save operation. Like for suppose I have while committing, I might have given today I have written 10 lines. This way, without going into the commit ID, the other people can understand what happened in this commit operation. Without going the details into the commit, they can understand by seeing the commit message itself. Here, if you see, I have written removed extra line. If you want to see what is that extra line, you can go inside the commit. So if I open this, you see, so there are multiple extra lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I removed all of them. So this is the previous version and this is the later version. So I removed all the extra lines. And here you can see it shows the minus symbol. Minus means you have deleted them. Minus means you have deleted them. If you added extra lines to the file, it will show you plus. Let me show you something. If there is any new line, yeah. Here I see new line. If I go to the commit ID, see. So here in this, I have deleted one line. It is showing minus, but in the later version, it is showing plus to 2 lines. So 2 lines I added. So this is the commit ID. The commit ID will be hexadecimal value. It will it will consist 40 characters. If you count this, it will be 40 characters. It's a hexadecimal value. It will consist 40 characters. We will call it as this as commit ID. So for every commit, that means every save operation. Commit is nothing but save operation. For every save or for every commit, you will get the commit ID, and the commit ID will be 40 characters hexadecimal value. So if you want to modify anything within this commit, you can see and you can update. Okay, on September 17th, Rajesh added some new line and this is the line. So this is how you will be tracking every change. This is how you will be tracking every change. Whenever a person did some change, what the change, when he did and who did. Okay, what is the change, when they did, and who did the change. Everything can be tracked by using Git. And everything is recorded. Every commit, every save operation is recorded. So even though if you have multiple options here, every file will have its own commit history. So if I open my solution, maybe this is my app.solution. If I open this file, even this file will have the history. Even this separate file will have its own history. If I go to history, there I can see I have only one commit. On this file, I have only one commit. That means this file got modified or changed only once. If I go to any other files, let me go to yeah, if I go to this line, okay, most of the files has one line history only. Jenkins file history. Yeah, most of the files. If I go to any some other repositories, I have many repositories. If I go to some other repository, yeah, let me go to this repository. Okay, if I go to something readme.md, okay, this is readme.md. So this readme.md we already seen. When you are seeing the wiki pages, readme.md is something which shows all the history of your file. Even we have, I think, yeah, we have created a readme.md. Readme.md is nothing but a markdown file where you will be giving the details of your project. So what is the project? What are you going to do in this project? If you see here in this readme.md, if I go to the history, I have multiple commits on the same file. These are specifically on the file. These are not from the entire repository. These are not from the entire repository. All the commits, that means all these save operations happened on this single file. If you see, everybody has written updated readme, updated readme, updated readme, updated files, updated readme. Everybody saying they updated readme. So if you want to see what they updated in readme, you can go inside the commit ID. Here you can see. So the minus shows they have removed this section, and the plus shows they updated or they added something in this section. So even the color indication also good. The red color means something is deleted. The green color means something added. Who did the change? Everything will be available for you. So here the name. Ian Monk has done some change on June 30, 2018. And they are saying one file changed, 2 additions, 2 deletions. So one in red color, another one is red color. That means 2 deletions and 2 additions. So the file name is readme.md. Even the color coding shows 2 additions, green, 2 deletions, red. So this was done June 30, 2018, and this is the commit ID. So everything is tracked. Whenever they perform some activity, it may be on top of a file or it may be on entire repository. If you see, if you remember in the readme.md, we have something like maybe 10 or 12 commits. Okay, we have 10 or 12 commits. But if you go to the entire repository, we have almost 265 commits. We have almost, we have 265 commits. 265. So as the number was high, it is showing older pages. If you click on older, it will show the old commits. There are many more. Still you can go more. So this is how they are adding files. If you want to add file, you can add file. If you have already file, you can upload the file. When you click on upload, it will open. See here, if you want, choose your file. So where is your file? If you have any file in your local repository, let me upload something to my own repository. Why? Because this is not my repository. If I have I have something in Jenkins sample. This is a sample repository. I can upload a file here. Okay, so choose what file you want to upload. So on desktop, I have some YAML file. Okay, this is YAML file. Open. See, now the file got uploaded. So if you want to commit this, okay, added YAML file. So the commit message is very important. Why? Because by seeing the commit message itself, the other team members can know what are the changes or what are the things we have done in the commit edit. So I have written added YAML file and I am saving this. Commit is nothing but saving. See, I added this file. So if I go to this file, and see the history, obviously it will be only one commit. Why? Because just now it got added. So, but if I go to the entire source code, there are multiple commits. Okay, there are multiple commits. This is how you will upload files or add files. This is GitHub platform. Why I am spending much time means Azure Repos. Okay, Azure Repos is clearly or completely derived from GitHub repository only. If you got the overview of the GitHub repository, then understanding Azure Repos is very easy. If you are already working in GitHub, then that is well and good. But even if you don't know about GitHub, we have a lot of things available in the market. You can go and verify either Google or YouTube. Many tutorials are there to understand GitHub. Once you understand the GitHub, then understanding the Azure Repos is very easy. If you see the structure, it looks similar. So if I go inside a repository, the first one is code. Code is nothing but what are all the contents we have in your repository. In the same way, the first one in Azure Repos is files. Files is nothing but the contents. Files is nothing but the contents. What are all you have in your repository? Let me go to some meaningful repository where you will have all the files. Yeah. So if I go to repos, see, here I have all the contents. Code section is nothing but content section. And then here I am seeing 25 commits. So if I click on these commits, it will show me all the commits which are happened in this repository. Here I am seeing separate section commits. If I click on this, now this shows me all the commits. This shows me all the commits. And here you are seeing, ignore this for now. This is something like build pipeline. If there is any build pipeline run on top of this commit, when the developer committed this change, obviously they will be having one build pipeline. So whenever there is a new change in the source code, they will run a build. That is nothing but continuous integration. Whenever the developer changes the code, you will run a build. Why you run a build? To verify the code is right or wrong. If the code is wrong, then you will tell them that something is wrong in your code. If the code is good, then you will see succeeded. Here if you see, I am seeing succeeded, here I am seeing failed. That means something is wrong on this commit. There are something succeeded, failed, succeeded, failed. Wherever there is no succeeded button, that means they have not validated this commit with a build. But here they validated this commit with a build. That means they build the code when there is a new changes. The same way, if you see, we have a tick mark here. That means this commit was verified by a build. If I click on this, see, it is showing me a build value. It is showing me a build pipeline. It is showing me a build pipeline. If I go to here it is showing me cross symbol. Cross symbol means the build got failed. See, all checks have failed. The checks got failed. This is how you will see the commits. So here the view is in GitHub repository, the view in repos repository. And then coming to pushes. Push means if you are writing something in your local computer, obviously you want to push that source code to the file section. So you will be pushing your code from your local computer to Azure Repos. Generally, source code will be in your local computer, but you want to push the source code to Azure Repos. So then these are the pushes. Okay, how many times the push happened? Even for every time the push, there might be some build pipeline running. So this is all the things. It's failed, it's succeeded. So here in push, the pushes you can see in insights. If you go to insight section in GitHub, so contributors. So here you can see. So there are 21 commits from Rajesh. There are 2 commits, and there are some pushes in September, in March, in December. So under insight section you can see. And even you can filter whether additions, deletions or commits, you can filter. Then coming to branches. So branch is something like you are within the same repository, you are creating a separate section to have your own source code. Within the same repository, you are creating a separate section. This is something like a tree structure. In a tree, there will be multiple branches. So a branch is separate. Even if something is there on the branch, it's not like the same will be on the other branch. In a tree, let's take an honey nest. If you have honey nest on a branch, it's not like the honey nest is there on the other branch. That means this branch is completely isolated. It is separate. The same way, if you have 10 developers and the 10 developers are working on the same repository, they can have their own branches. That means they can write their source code in their separate branch. No need to write in others branch. But at the end of the day, people will be merging all these branches changes into one centralized repository that is nothing but master branch. I will tell you the branching structure also. So in general, in GitHub repository, the first, whenever you create a repository, the first branch will be master branch. The first branch will be master branch. That is master branch or main branch. Some people will name it as main branch. Some people will name it as master branch. So the master branch is the major repository, and after the master branch, people can create their own branches. It may be a my branch or first branch, second branch, own branch, branch 1, branch 2. So you will have multiple branches, but all the branches will have same source code or maybe different source code. So if you see in GitHub, we have 3 branches. 3 branches. Now if you see, I have a my file. Just now I created this my file. This my file was created in master branch. This my file was created in master branch. Let me see what are all the branches here. I have master branch, new test branch, another branch. Branch name is branch 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what I will do? I know that in master branch I have my file. I will switch to other branch. I want to go to new test branch. Okay, new test branch. See, we don't have my file here. And all the commits are 6 months ago. And even in this new test branch, I am seeing only 21 commits. I am seeing only 21 commits. Whereas in master branch, I see a file changed 9 days ago and a file changed 2 months ago and even a file changed half an hour ago. And we have 25 commits, not 21, 25 commits. So if I go to other branch, there you can see everything is changed 6 months ago. That means from last 6 months, no one working on this. From last 6 months, no one working on this, and there are only 21 commits. It is clearly showing here. This branch is 4 commits behind master. Yes, we have 25 commits in master and here we are seeing 21. That means 4 commits are less. That's the reason it is showing this branch is 4 commits behind master. Why it is comparing with master? I told you master is the main repository, centralized repository, major repository. So all the other branches will be compared with master. If there is something in the master branch, you may need to have the same changes in master. If there is something which is not there in master and it is there in the other branch, you need to merge the change to the master. This is because everybody will see the source code in master only. They won't see the source code in your local branch. If I go to other branch, there is another branch called branch 123. If you see here, I have 23 commits and it is showing this branch is 2 months behind. And here there is a one thing which is changed 2 months ago. Remaining all are 6 months ago. So the same way in our Azure Repos also we have branches section. We have branches section. So if you go here, it will show you the source code inside the branch. It will show you the source code inside the branch. If you see in Azure pipelines, okay, in Azure pipelines, I have a file called template.json parameters.json. Template.json parameters.json. If I go to master branch, I don't have those files. Template.json, master.json. I don't have those files. But these files are there in Azure Pipelines branch. Azure Pipelines branch. And the last change it's happening September, March, February, November, December. You can see the history of this branch. So this is the history. How many times this branch got changed and what are all the commits in this branch? And when the commit happened, is there a build run on the commit? So here I have created a build, but here there is no builds on these commits. So this is the way you will see the branches in Azure Repos. And you can see here it is default branch and we are using this branch to compare with other branch. We are using default branch and we are comparing this branch. The same way here we see master is the default branch. Okay, master is the default branch. And then we go to tags. So as of now there are no tags in this repository. Here also there are no tags. There are 0 tags. Okay, now let me see any other repository I have. Yeah, so here I have a tag, first tag. And this tag was created in this commit. Commit is nothing but save operation. That means you created a tag and you saved this. You created a tag and you saved this. Here I'm not sure which source code repository I have the tags, but I will try to have something. If I go to Jenkins sample 0 tags, Java sample no tags. I think I have not created any tags in this GitHub repositories, but I have created a tag in Azure Repos. Then we have pull request section. So mine means this is my section. So what are all the pull requests I have? Active means if there are any active pull requests. Let me go to some other repository. So there are no pull requests on my name. There are no pull requests which are active, but there is a pull request which is completed. So this was completed in November month itself. So the pull request completed and abandoned means cancelled. So there are 2 pull requests which was abandoned. Abandoned means cancelled. The same way we have pull request option here also. If I go to a repository, there we have pull request option. But here there are no pull requests. If I have created any pull request, I might have seen them. But here there are no pull requests. Okay. And leave about these two sections. These are customized ones. Obviously, you will not be seeing in your source code repositories. These two will not be available for you. These are like custom options. I want to see the pull request data in a dashboard. I want to see the pull request data in a dashboard. So I customized this view. Maybe you are not seeing this view in your repositories. If I go to separate repositories, let me take a repository, and if I go to the dashboard, whether I have pull requests or not. Nothing, no pull requests. Sample web. And if I go to pull request dashboard, nothing. I don't think. No pull requests at all. This is very bad, man. If I go for any other repository, my demo, pull request manager hub. Yeah, yes, we have a pull request here. Recently completed 8. Recently abandoned 6. So this is such another customized view. We created this view to see the pull requests which are cancelled, which are running. Okay. So there is nothing active, but we have 8 completed and we have 6 abandoned. Abandoned is nothing but cancelled. Completed means approved. You can see this is approved. Approved by this person. We will see this concept later, but understand the structure first. So files is the file section where you will see the demo, I mean the source code entire, and the commits is the commits happened on top of the source code repository. And then pushes means whenever you push your source code from local system to Azure Repos, you will see the records here. Then branches. Here I have 4 branches. The earlier repo I have 3 branches, but here I have 4. Then tags. So I have 1 tag here. Then pull requests. So active nothing, but completed there are many. So there are 2, and abandoned there are nothing abandoned. Completed we have 2. The other 2 options, these are custom options. Obviously, you will not be seeing in your local repositories. If you have Azure DevOps account, you won't see these. These are actually customized ones. Okay, so as I said, Azure Repos was completely derived. It was copied. Frankly, it was copied from GitHub. GitHub is the initial source code management system that is famous even till today. If you see the other window, let me close. They think we have seen the contributors. How many users are there in GitHub?
Raju, is it possible to pull one request from GitHub to Azure?
Pull request.
Hi, pull Git means from Git to any repository.
It's easy. Our next concept is that only. First of all, I want to understand the structure.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Tomorrow we will see how to get, for suppose, let me take my new organization. If you remember in my new organization, see this is a sample project created for our classes. So if you see inside this repository, if I go in files, there is only one file. But how can I get multiple files here? How can I get multiple files here? And if you see the commits, there is only one commit. I want to see more commits. How can I see the commits? And pushes, there is nothing. Okay, there is one push. Okay, there is one push. But I want to see more. Multiple commits, and in branch, only one branch. I told you, right? People will call it as main branch or master branch. Here it is main. And no tags, I believe. Yes, there are no tags. And no pull request. Yes, there are no pull request. It may be active or completed or abandoned, no pull request. So tomorrow I will show you that the original source code management, how a source code can be written in local, and how that will be pushed. If your source code is already there in GitHub, how to bring the source code to Azure Repos. I will show everything tomorrow. Okay, now here if you see, so as I told you, Azure Repos is completely copied from GitHub. Why? Because GitHub is a famous source code management system. And if you see, there are 56 plus million developers who is using GitHub. 56 plus million. Million is nothing but 10 lakhs. 56 million means almost 6 crores. 6 crores developers, man. 6 crores developers. You know, I worked in Microsoft. Let me tell you a simple example. Microsoft complete employee count was more than 2.5 lakh. 2,50,000 employees are there in Microsoft. But can you tell me the developer count in Microsoft? Based on this count, can you guess the developer count? 2,50,000 employees ఉన్నారు మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లో. ఎంతమంది డెవలపర్స్ ఉంటారో గెస్ చేయగలరా?
2 lakh.
Any other one? Any other one?
Maybe 50,000.
Okay. So I'm not going with more options. There are less than 20,000 developers in Microsoft. Less than 20,000. Not even 10%. 2,50,000 మంది ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఉన్న మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లో కనీసం 20,000 మంది కూడా డెవలపర్స్ లేరు. I worked in Microsoft. I know the count. I'm not sure about the exact count, but I know the count. It's less than 20,000. That means 20,000 మంది మాత్రమే అప్లికేషన్స్ ని డెవలప్ చేస్తున్నారు. మిగతా 2,30,000 మంది ఆ అప్లికేషన్స్ ని మెయింటైన్ చేయడానికి, వాటిని రన్ చేయడానికి, వాటిని మార్కెటింగ్ చేయడానికి, వాటిని సపోర్ట్ చేయడానికి మాత్రమే పనిచేస్తున్నారు. సో కెన్ ఎనీవన్ ఆఫ్ యూ టెల్ మీ 3 మేజర్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్? వాళ్ళ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ 3 మాత్రమే మేజర్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్. ఆ 3 ఏంటో చెప్పగలరా? అట్లీస్ట్ 1 లేదా 2. కానీ వాళ్ళ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ మేజర్గా 3 మాత్రమే మేజర్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్. Anyone? What is major product from Microsoft?
Microsoft Windows.
Okay, one.
Microsoft Office.
Okay.
The one I'm not sure. I think
Okay.
cloud maybe. Yeah.
Right. I think this is Pulaya, right? Pulaya, you got
Yeah.
all the 3 answers right. So the first one is operating system. Microsoft Windows. It's not only Windows. We have multiple versions like Windows 7, 8, 10, Windows Server. So first one is operating system. Microsoft is running on top of operating system only. If there is no operating system, there is no Microsoft. Windows అనేది లేకపోతే మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ అనేది లేదు. బట్ ఈ విండోస్ డెవలప్ చేసిన వాళ్ళు అట్లీస్ట్ 10,000 మంది కన్నా తక్కువ ఉన్నారంటే మీరు నమ్మగలరా? విండోస్లో పనిచేస్తున్న వాళ్ళు లెస్ దాన్ 10,000. ఐఎమ్ దేర్ ఇన్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ క్యాంపస్. విండోస్ టీంలో 10,000 మంది కూడా లేరు. I think there are only 6,000 to 8,000 people who are working on Windows. ఓన్లీ 8,000 మంది లేదా 10,000 మంది మాత్రమే విండోస్ను డెవలప్ చేస్తున్నారు. దీని తర్వాత మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ అనదర్ మేజర్ ప్రోడక్ట్ ఎంఎస్ ఆఫీస్. దట్ ఈస్ నౌ నథింగ్ బట్ ఆఫీస్ 365. దాన్ని ఆఫీస్ 365గా రీనేమ్ చేశారు. నౌ దట్ ఈస్ ఆఫీస్ 365. దట్ మీన్స్ దే ఆర్ గివింగ్ ఆల్ ద ప్రోడక్ట్స్ యాజ్ వన్ ప్యాకేజ్. That is Office 365. And apart from MS Office, apart from Microsoft Windows and Microsoft Office, MS Office, the another major product from Microsoft is Microsoft Azure, which is nothing but cloud. Now, ఈ మూడింటి మీదే కంపెనీ రన్ అవుతుంది. సో విండోస్ లేకపోతే మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లేదు, లేదా ఆఫీస్ 365 లేకపోతే మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లేదు, లేదా అజూర్ లేకపోతే మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లేదు. ఈవెన్ అజూర్ లేకపోయినా మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ ఉంది. వై? బికాస్ దాని మేజర్ ప్రోడక్ట్ విండోసే. విండోస్ని డెవలప్ చేయడం ఆపేశారంటే మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ లేనట్టే. సో 2,50,000 మంది ఉన్న మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్లో డెవలపర్ కమ్యూనిటీ. దెర్ ఈస్ ఎ సపరేట్ వెబ్సైట్ మ్యాన్. యూ గో అండ్ వెరిఫై ద యూజర్స్ కౌంట్. This is another major website. Okay, this is another major website called Developer Community. మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్లో ఉన్న డెవలపర్స్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు మనం అడిగే డౌట్స్కి ఆన్సర్స్ ఇస్తారు. సో ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ డౌట్ యూ కెన్ ఆస్క్ దెమ్ హియర్. దీస్ ఆర్ ద సెక్షన్స్. విజువల్ స్టూడియోలో డౌట్ ఉందా, .NETలో ఉందా, Azure DevOpsలో ఉందా. ఫర్ సపోజ్ యూ హ్యావ్ డౌట్ ఇన్ Azure DevOps, go to Azure DevOps section. There you can see these are all the questions. Okay, these are all the questions people are asking, and you can see the filter. This is new. So someone asked me ability to run tasks in parallel or rerun failed build or task or step. ఇలా క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు, వాటికి ఆన్సర్స్ ఇస్తారు. రైట్ నో there are 58,999 items are there. If you go to any one, for suppose if I go to the completed one, ఇది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. So if I open this, so there are only 280, and on top of this 280, if I completely go to details of this discussion, how many people answered this question? Okay, how many people answered this question? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 100 or 200. If you see the scroll bar, it looks very small. That means let's take this number as 1000. Okay, even today also there is an answer. Sorry, yesterday also there is an answer. So people will be continuously following this. If you see, whoever is with MSFT tag, they are the direct employees of Microsoft. The other persons may be Microsoft employees or may not be Microsoft employees. Let me cross check. Yeah, he is not a Microsoft employee. So when a person asked a question, at least maybe see here they are seeing the count. There are 121 replies. If you see the scroll bar, the total count is 121 replies. Let's take this count as 1000 or 2000. That means there are only 2000 to 3000 people who will answer your questions in developer community. This means there are only 2000 to 3000 developers who worked on this Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps was created by less than 2000 people, but the Microsoft employee count was more than 250,000. The exact count is around 265,000, I believe. 2 lakhs. So this is the why I am bringing this topic is, if you see, GitHub has more than 56 million developers. That means 5 crore, man. 5 crore. So in the entire world there are 5 crore developers, and these people are from almost 3 million organizations. 3 million means 30 lakhs. In your entire experience, maybe you are a 30 years experience or 40 years experience, you will not know at least 100 company names. You never know 100 company names. But in our globe, we have 3 million organizations which are part of GitHub. There may be some organizations which are not part of GitHub, man. These 3 million organizations are part of GitHub, but there may be some organizations which are not part of GitHub, and they are maintaining 100 million repositories. 100 million means 10 crore repositories. If you take my project, another project, let's take my project. This is one of the major projects. I used to do a lot of work in this project. If I go to repos, okay, how many repos I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have only 6 repositories. These 6 repositories are enough for me. I can do anything within these 6 repositories. But GitHub has 10 crore repositories. 10 crore, not 1 lakh, 10 lakh or 1 crore. 10 crore. So that is the scale of GitHub. And most of the things on GitHub are free. No need to pay 1 rupee also. Chini. So if you people have account in GitHub, okay. If you don't have, sign in and create a account in GitHub. And tomorrow we will see how this repos works and how to bring files and how to make commits, how to create branches, how to create tags. Everything we will see tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Yep, guys. Thanks. Bye.